everyone here is expressing frustrations, and when I first came here and looked at all this, I was struck by what a Rubik's Cube this is, and perhaps a Rubik's Cube that you can't ever totally resolve. And it's frustrating when you talk with the American people. They ask me, well, explain our strategy, explain our objectives. And it's very, very difficult to do. For one reason, it's been changing. We are becoming more realistic. I notice what's crept into our dialogue now has been that it'll never be perfect. And thank goodness we finally recognize that. I mean, that clearly is a fact of life. The frustrations with the two governments in both countries is just overwhelming. And we started in Afghanistan with motives, as everyone said, that were great. And we always hear people talk about winning in Afghanistan. Well, we won a long time ago. Our objective there was to beat al-Qaeda. We did it. Reference has been made that there's less than 100 of them left in the country. And so we're left fighting the Taliban, who will fight us for centuries if we are so inclined. I mean, they fight whoever is there. And so we've got to find a way to articulate what the objective is and then move on. And my question that I'd like you to focus on, and please don't take this as being argumentative or anything in that regard. This is very, very pragmatic. When we leave Afghanistan, and we will at some point in time, we're going to be left with the Karzai government, I suppose, and a military and security forces that should hold all this together. And one of the problems I have is, from a purely pragmatic standpoint, just the salaries for those security people far exceeds the gross national product of the country, and as I understand it, by multiples. How is this going to work? Because clearly there's got to be security forces. There's no possible way that Karzai can hold on, or whoever it is, it's a successor. There's no way that you can keep the fragmented country like it is together without very substantial payments to security forces. And I just don't see how that's possible. I mean, you hear the talk about their natural resources and what have you. Right now, they seem to be relying on the poppy for their income. What's your from a purely pragmatic basis? What's your vision of how they're going to keep enough security forces paid and on the ground to hold this whole thing together?
Well, I think it's a very fair question, Senator, and I'd answer it with the following points. First of all, you're right that they are going to have a security force to protect the country, and that's what we've been trying to train up. And it's not only the United States. We have a number of partners who have been contributing to the training and the paying of these security forces. So the formal Afghan military and Afghan police forces will be a continuing source of assistance provided by a number of countries. And it will be something that is a lot cheaper than what we're doing now, and is going to be essentially, continuing to try to maintain a security presence there. But there is a trust fund for paying the security forces that countries like Japan that don't have any military on the ground have contributed to. So that's one of the issues we're going to be negotiating as we go forward. Secondly, a lot of the security is going to be provided by local militias, local police. General Petraeus has invested a lot of effort in helping to create what are essentially village patrols, so that people will be trained and armed to protect themselves, not connected to the national military or police force. And we think that's a very good line of defense, and that doesn't really cost us anything once the initial investment is made, because people themselves will pick that up. Thirdly, we do think that there is an opportunity for Afghanistan to fund some of its own security needs. The reference to the mineral wealth and some other sources. So we are discussing that right now with the Afghan government. At the present time, President Karzai has said he will not stay in office, which we think is the appropriate decision, that he will leave when his term is up. And so there will be a great effort made to ensure that there's a free and fair election. And assuming there can be such an election, a lot of this responsibility will fall to whoever succeeds him. So we will continue to support Afghanistan and its security, but we're going to be doing it on a conditions-based analysis.
I think that's probably the best answer there is to that, and I really appreciate that. But I would really urge someone to sit down with a pad and a pencil and come up with some specific numbers, because as the frustration here is obvious. We're not going to continue to pour the money in there for that, and the numbers I've seen, the estimates I've seen, are just staggering. So I'd like to see somebody do that. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you.
Senator.